What if the fear that you don't have enough is the very thing keeping you from discovering who you truly are? What if selfishness wasn't a failure but a doorway? What if I told you that giving too much can be just as selfish as giving too little? Welcome to the paradox of this 27th pattern of evolutionary change. Today we're diving into the shadow of selfishness, the gift of altruism waiting on the other side while integrating it, and transcending the suffering from this challenge into the grace of selflessness. This is a shadow work like we've never seen, rooted in human design, the gene keys, and real life transformation. Before I get into the details of this shadow work, I'll share a short parable called The Garden with No Fruit. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. There was once a man named Corin who lived at the edge of a fertile valley. He was born into a lineage of farmers, each more resourceful than the last. But Corin lived through 3 harsh winters in his youth, and from then on he vowed he would never go without again. He became an excellent grower. His garden, hidden behind tall stone walls, yielded more food than any other in the valley. People marveled. They came seeking seeds, wisdom, even scraps. But Corin gave little. He'd say, I worked hard for this. I have to make sure I have enough, just in case. The seasons passed. The valley fell into drought. Families struggled, and children became thin. And still, Corin's garden overflowered, quiet and untouched behind his walls. Then, one night, Corin walked the rows of his own field and found a single pear tree, ancient and strong, completely bare. He was stunned. He examined it. No pests, no disease. The tree was healthy, but it bore no fruit. And then, deep in the silence, he heard something in his own chest say, Fruit is not born from fear. Corin wept that night, not out of guilt, but out of grief. Grief that in his pursuit of safety, he had forgotten to trust life. The next day, he opened the gates. People came, and though his garden was shared, something strange happened. The old tree began to flower again. In this 27th evolutionary pattern of change, this is often misunderstood. It's not just about being selfish. It's about the ancient biological fear that lives in the body, the fear that we will not be nourished, that there isn't enough, that if we give, we will lose, and that survival depends on control. At the shadow level, this pattern speaks through 2 primary voices, one that gives too much, hoping to earn love, and one that withholds to protect from being drained. Both are rooted in the same thing, the fear of not being safe, the fear of disappearing if we're not useful or full. In early human history, this fear served us, the instinct to hoard resources, to prioritize survival, to protect the self. These were evolutionary necessities. They're encoded in our cells, in our gut, in our nervous system. But what happens when the conditions of the world evolve and the old instincts remain? We become emotionally exhausted, spiritually detached, and relationally imbalanced. We find ourselves asking, why do I always feel empty even when I give everything? Why can't I trust others to show up? Why does connection feel like a risk? This specific challenge asks us to confront the root survival fear in our biology and to begin cultivating the emotional awareness needed for a different kind of growth. The complement to this 27th pattern of evolutionary change is the shadow of purposelessness. and its fear of living in a way where we have to come to terms where fear is really what's afraid of dying, where that repressive nature of that shadow is that of becoming hollow and or taking unnecessary risks just to feel alive. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign, so you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. Spiritual ascension and the purpose of this shadow transmutation. These challenges are not meant for us to shame the shadow. They reveal the purpose of it. The shadow exists as a pressure pushing us toward a deeper remembrance. In this specific one, that remembrance is, quote, I am nourished when I trust in life. Giving is not sacrifice, it is from the overflow. Selfishness is not self-erasure, but you don't get there by bypassing the fear. You get there by sitting with the part of us that doesn't believe it yet. You see, selfishness protects the wound. Altruism practices healing. And selflessness is what remains when there's no one left to protect. Why this challenge matters now. In a world starved for true connection, this specific challenge teaches us how to return to life-sustaining presence. It's not just about giving more, it's about giving from the right place. Because when we're nourished, really nourished, we don't need to hoard. We don't need to manipulate. We don't need to be the hero. We simply show up whole. That's the path of this 27th pattern of change. Not immediate grace, but gradual trust, built one honest moment at a time. And remember, this is just the beginning, not the solution, but the seeing, the willingness to recognize how the fear of lack lives in our story and how it may be quietly keeping us from the love, support, and ease we were born to receive. But for now, just ask yourself, where am I still afraid to be nourished? Please like if you appreciated this video, subscribe if you want to keep watching more, and comment down below how you honestly may have overgiven and also withheld too much, and how you want to move forward step by step, small steps towards nourishing connections with others, but most importantly, yourself. Down in the description below, you will find my email address for free consultations on your personal chart and to understand other shadows that are in this series. I also have a website with understanding of what I do, as well as links to resources. However, if you want to join a community to support you through the process, I have three. One of them is called Spiritual Divination Systems, which I talk about the gene keys and human design. The next is Emotional Intelligence and Mastery, where we learn to understand the benefits of our emotions, the questions that they bring, and how do we navigate that from our true core authority. The next is Emotional Trauma Release Group, where you will find resources necessary to help you understand what can be let go that will be helpful to you so that you can embody and put in its place of the vacancy what will truly nourish your soul. God bless you on your journey. Namaste, and good life to you all.